100 bike, come on.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to our Downcountry field test here in Quebec. This time around, we're doing the roundtable video. We're gonna talk about the best climber, the best descender, surprises, disappointments, and we're gonna wrap it all up by choosing the bike that we would like to take home. But first, let's start off talking about climbing. Sarah, which bike do you think climbed the best?
I think it was that Ibis XE. I really had an amazing time climbing that bike. It just made me feel like a World Cup superstar climbing those super tight technical trails. It had amazing traction, super light bike as well. That's the one I would choose if I was doing a lot of climbing.
I would have to agree with Sarah. The XE, even though it only had that 100 mils of travel, it felt like a lot more on both the climbs and the descents. And the tires just gripped really well with that suspension.
Yeah, I would agree that DW Link system on that bike, we've all had lots of time on DW Link bikes. We know that it works really well. I'm gonna do a shout out though to that Allied. I think it has a good mix of traction and pedaling efficiency. It's obviously not the most efficient bike, but tons of traction, and I was super comfortable on it. So Matt, let's turn around. We're gonna head back down the mountain. Best descender, what are you choosing?
You know, I'd actually pick the Allied for that.
I'm not surprised.
It just felt like it was a really even balance of where my weight was between the wheels, and for the 120 mils of travel it had, it did work very well and didn't do anything wild. It was just kind of there. The geometry was like well balanced, and I felt centered on the bike.
Yep. Sarah?
I'd say I did really enjoy the Allied on the downhills. I had an awesome day riding that in the Massif de Charlevoix. I think the RSD is the one I would choose if I was doing a lot of descending though.
Yeah.
Even though it's like $4,000 bike, I was super impressed with how it performed on the downhills. It just, was really confidence inspiring.
Yeah, I would agree with Sarah. I think the Allied is obviously more well-rounded than the Wildcat. It also costs like 10 times as much. But I mean, the Allied is a great descender if you're looking for a light, fast bike, but that Wildcat, super solid and just goes through all the things. Next up, we're gonna talk biggest surprise. Which bike surprised you the most out of all these things?
That would actually have to be the XE.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the shortest travel bike on test, but it felt like it had more.
Yeah.
And the frame, everything about it was just very comfortable and easy to manage. The traction, we talked about that a lot. But yeah, it just had a lot to offer for 100 mils.
Sarah?
I'd say that there were two bikes that really surprised me. First was that Allied BC40. This is Allied's first mountain bike, so honestly, I didn't have that high expectations coming from a gravel brand. Yeah. Maybe I should have, obviously.
Maybe there's something to it.
Maybe there's something to it. And then the other was that RSD Wildcat. I was really impressed for $4,000 how confident that bike was overall.
Yeah, I think my surprise is I have a bad surprise. It's the Lapierre rear suspension. It's way too harsh. I thought it would be better. A good surprise, the Wildcat. You know, it's such a good deal. It's super solid. It can do multiple wheel sizes. And I mean, it's not the fastest bike, but it's not made for that. You know, it's just made to do all the things and be solid. So, and that kind of leads us into best value. And I mean, some of these bikes that we have, they're pretty expensive. So obviously the best value, I'm gonna choose that Wildcat.
Yeah, I don't think any of us can really disagree that.
No, I would add that the Lapierre definitely brings some value to the table with, those quality parts like the full XT and the DT Swiss wheels, but that's more on the XC riding focused.
Yep, exactly. Next up, we're gonna talk about what our choice would be if we were gonna do some cross-country racing, which is what some of these bikes might see. So Sarah.
I'd definitely choose that XC. Like I said, it was the best climber of the bunch that I thought. And then, I mean, if you're gonna race cross country, you want the best climber on your side, no questions asked. And then it was also like a lot of the World Cup courses have pretty, I mean, I'm just talking about World Cup racing, there's also national level races, regional races, but all of those races I would want the XC on my side because both climbing and descending, it was really confident.
Yeah, for me, I would pick the Allied, honestly, if I was racing. I can firm it up if I want. There's a pedal assist switch there. I don't think that I would, probably not. And it's just so well-rounded that, I mean, the races that I like doing are fairly long. Sometimes they're stage races and they're rooty and rocky and wet and shitty terrain, all that kind of stuff. And I think the Allied is the ticket for that. Matt?
Yeah, I could agree with you if you're talking about more of a stage race like the BCBR or something like that, but I would actually go for the BMC. Yeah, once I realized how you had to descend on this bike, I felt really good on it. And that low front end, that's just gonna make it a rocket ship going uphill. And the rear suspension's firm, but it does work. So like it's not quite as harsh as the Lapierre, and the head tube angle, I just felt like there was enough front wheel ahead of me. It wasn't as tucked underneath as the XC. So that's kind of how that bike would work for me in a race situation.
Okay, but what if you were doing trail riding? It's got to be the Allied then, right?
Yeah, then we're shifting more to that for sure.
Yeah. What bike is our favorite, which means what bike would we take home if we could? Matt?
I mean, we talked a lot about the Allied and how it can kind of do all the genres, but it would be between that and the Evil actually. Okay. The Evil is like, it's a muscly little bike that you can really throw into corners. So I would have a lot of fun on it on like more mellow terrain, but it wouldn't be the same kind of bike I'd want to do like a big Chilcotins ride. That might be something I would choose the Allied for.
I would probably take the Allied home with me. I mean, it's the most expensive one, and it's got this axis build, and the geometry works so well, the suspension works. So yeah, I'm gonna go put that one in my bag now.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think I'd take the Lapierre home. No, I'm just joking.
Over the head.
I would definitely choose the Allied. I wish it didn't cost as much as it did, but man, that BC40 is an impressive bicycle. It does a lot of things and I have a lot of fun on it. So that would be my choice. So you guys have seen all of the videos. Let us know in the comments what your favorite bike is. What bike would you choose if you were doing some racing? What bike would you choose if you just wanted a bike to ride around? So let us know those answers in the comments below and stay tuned because we still have more videos on the way from our Quebec Downcountry field test.